What if the journey you've been on for years finally comes to a head? What if everything you fought for and endured is about to either be your redemption or your downfall? 1923. Season 2, Episode 6 promises to answer these questions, and the stakes couldn't be higher. As the characters we've come to love and hate continue their harsh struggle for survival, Episode 6 will leave you at the edge of your seat. The winds of change are blowing, and you won't believe the twists that are coming your way. Get ready, because 1923 is about to hit its most intense chapter yet. After everything Spencer has been through, his return to Montana has become the event we've all been waiting for. But when Spencer steps back into the state that was once his home, it's not the warm welcome he imagined. The Montana he returns to is a place of growing tension, a land where things have changed, and where everyone, including Spencer himself, must now face the brutal consequences of their actions. Episode 6 doesn't just give us Spencer's long-anticipated return, it's a reminder that the world he left behind is no longer the same. Spencer's been on a long and exhausting journey, and every mile has chipped away at his spirit. But as he approaches Montana, the gravity of what's to come becomes painfully clear. The Duttons are preparing for his arrival, but they're also bracing themselves for a conflict that will bring the tension between the old world and the new to a breaking point. As Spencer finds himself face to face with the harsh reality of the state, it's not just about his reunion with his family, it's about the war that's waiting for him. The Marshal of Montana has already warned Spencer that his return won't be easy, and he wasn't kidding. When Spencer finally sets foot in Montana, everything is in motion. But nothing could prepare him for the challenges he'll soon face. On the train ride, Spencer meets a woman in need of food, and in that moment, his compassion shines through. It's a moment that echoes Alexandra's struggles, reflecting the suffering and humanity that are at the heart of 1923. Spencer's willingness to help isn't just a reflection of his character, it's a sign of how far he's come and how much he's lost. However, this small act of kindness is soon overshadowed by the brutal realities of the world around him. The winds of fate are not kind, and Spencer will soon find himself in the midst of a storm far greater than he ever anticipated. As Spencer tries to piece together what's happening in his home state, the audience is left questioning. Will Spencer and his family be able to survive the mounting pressure, or will this be the moment everything falls apart? The tension between Spencer and the forces that want to see him fail is palpable, and as the pieces start to fall into place, it becomes clear that Montana is about to be the battleground for something much larger than anyone expected. As Spencer inches closer to Montana, the horrors Alexandra has endured are far from over. In Episode 6, her journey takes a darker turn. The woman we've watched fight through hunger, humiliation, and brutality is on the verge of being broken. Alexandra is trapped in a whirlwind of despair, caught in a world that continuously pushes her to the edge. The choices she's made so far have only led her to more suffering, and now, even as she finds some semblance of safety, the threat of losing everything again looms larger than ever. The British family who offered Alexandra a helping hand can only provide temporary solace. As much as they try to assist, the power dynamics at play are beyond their control. Alexandra's pregnancy, a symbol of hope, quickly becomes a tool for exploitation. The British family is now fixated on her baby, determined to hold onto it for their own purposes. The moment Alexandra's condition becomes known, she finds herself at the mercy of people who view her as little more than a means to an end. This is where the real emotional weight of Alexandra's journey hits. Her once unwavering hope begins to crack. She's no longer just fighting for survival in a cruel world. She's fighting for her child, her future, and her very sense of self. The desperation grows as she is backed into a corner, knowing that no matter what she chooses, it could be a death sentence, either for her or for her baby. The bleakness of her situation is impossible to ignore. Will she be able to escape, or is she bound to a life of captivity in the very country she thought would be her salvation? The complexity of Alexandra's internal struggle deepens in this episode. The mental toll of everything she's endured starts to show in her actions, her words, and her very presence. She's physically exhausted, emotionally shattered, and yet there's still a fight in her. The moment she removes her shoes to reveal the bruises on her feet is more than just a visual cue. It's a devastating symbol of how much she's given up, how much she's lost, and how much she still has left to give. The audience is left wondering, can a mother endure this much pain without breaking? The cruel reality is that the show may push her to that breaking point, forcing Alexandra to confront the most agonizing decision of her life. But the tension isn't only about Alexandra's physical survival. Her words, her voice, once so important in the eyes of those around her, now carry no weight. When she attempts to share her story of assault with the authorities, she's met with indifference, dismissed as an inconsequential figure in a world that favors the powerful. The British woman's intervention is the only thing that finally shifts the balance, and Alexandra is given a small moment of justice, though it comes at a great cost. It's an unsettling commentary on the harsh realities of a world where power, money, and status are the only currencies that matter. As we witness Alexandra's continued torment, her resilience becomes both heartbreaking and inspiring. Despite everything that's happened to her, she never fully gives in to despair. But this episode makes one thing clear. Her journey is far from over, and the path she's on may lead her to an even darker place. At this point, the weight of Alexandra's struggles is enough to make any viewer question how much a person can endure before they finally break. Will the help from the British family be enough to pull her back from the edge? Or will they too become part of the cycle that traps her in this seemingly endless nightmare? The tension surrounding Alexandra isn't just physical, it's deeply emotional. And as the clock ticks down to the next phase of her journey, her fate remains uncertain, hanging in the balance between hope and despair. As Spencer's return looms closer and Alexandra's battle continues, another dark force begins to take shape. Banner Creighton. Episode 6 sees this ruthless character intensifying his grip on the state, and it's clear that he's not just a man with power, he's a man who's willing to do whatever it takes to get what he wants. What's chilling about Banner is the way he operates behind the scenes, manipulating situations and using people as pawns in his greater scheme. His cold and calculated nature makes him an increasingly dangerous presence as we move deeper into the season. Up until now, we've seen Banner as a man who holds grudges, a man who wants power, but also craves control. He's ruthless, driven by a desire to dominate the people and lands of Montana. But in episode 6, we start to understand just how far he will go. Banner has already shown his willingness to cross moral lines, and now he's preparing for a confrontation that could change the entire landscape of the Duttons' world. With Spencer on his way back to Montana, Banner sees an opportunity to stake his claim in a new battle. The Duttons' return is more than just a reunion. It's the start of a new chapter of conflict, one that Banner is eager to orchestrate. In a chilling move, Banner begins to form an army. He's assembling forces to fight against Spencer. The stakes are now at their highest, the battle lines are drawn, and Banner is no longer just an obstacle. He's the embodiment of everything that stands in opposition to the Dutton family's ideals and survival. His decision to build an army is a direct response to Spencer's return, a threat that he's willing to carry out to ensure that the Duttons remain weakened, scattered, and vulnerable. What's most terrifying is how calculated Banner's moves are. Every decision he makes is methodical, designed to slowly chip away at any hope the Duttons have of reclaiming their power in Montana. But what makes Banner such a compelling villain is not just his drive for power, it's his sense of detachment, his ability to see people as nothing more than obstacles to be removed. His complete disregard for human life, as seen when he casually discards a poor worker's body from a cliff, is a chilling representation of the kind of man he has become. The line between him and his antagonist counterpart, Donald, is increasingly blurred. Banner's descent into darkness mirrors that of Donald's, and soon it will be hard to tell them apart. Both men are driven by the same ruthless ambition, and that's what makes Banner's growing power so dangerous. He's not just a random threat, he's the mirror image of the power the Duttons have fought for, and in this game, it seems he's ready to take no prisoners. As the episode unfolds, Banner's movements become more aggressive. The situation he creates isn't just a fight for land or resources, it's a fight for survival, and the stakes couldn't be higher for the Duttons. With Spencer on the way back, Montana is about to be engulfed in a war that no one is truly prepared for. As we see Banner's power grow, we can't help but wonder if Spencer and the Duttons will be able to outmaneuver him, or if Banner's iron grip will ultimately prove too strong for them to break. As the episode unfolds, Banner's movements become more aggressive. The situation he creates isn't just a fight for land or resources, it's a fight for survival, and the stakes couldn't be higher for the Duttons. With Spencer on the way back, Montana is about to be engulfed in a war that no one is truly prepared for. As we see Banner's power grow, we can't help but wonder if Spencer and the Duttons will be able to outmaneuver him, or if Banner's iron grip will ultimately prove too strong for them to break. For the Duttons, Banner represents the culmination of everything they've fought against, a man who will stop at nothing to see them fall. And for Banner, the Duttons are the perfect challenge. He's not just fighting them to win, he's fighting them to prove that he has the power to crush anything in his path. The tension is palpable, and with the war brewing, we can only wait to see how this dangerous confrontation will play out. But one thing is for sure, when Banner comes for the Duttons, there will be no turning back. The chilling part of it all is that Banner's actions, though ruthless, are undeniably effective. His strategies will set the stage for a larger confrontation, and the fear of what's to come will keep viewers on edge. As episode 6 builds, we're left wondering who will come out on top in this increasingly bitter battle for dominance in Montana. While Spencer and Alexandra face their own battles, another character's journey in 1923 is about to take a dark and tragic turn. Tiana, who's been on the run from the very beginning, is reaching a breaking point. Her quest for justice and vengeance becomes the focal point of episode 6, and it's a storyline filled with tension, heartbreak, and inevitable confrontation. After being separated from her lover Pete, Tiana's emotional and physical toll becomes too much to bear. Her anger and grief over Pete's death, and the constant danger surrounding her, push her toward an irreversible decision. In the previous episodes, we've watched Tiana navigate a world that constantly places her in harm's way. The trauma of being on the run, the constant fear for her life, and the betrayal of those around her have worn her down. Her love for Pete was one of the few things keeping her grounded, but when he's tragically killed by the priest, Tiana is left with nothing but a burning desire for revenge. Her pain is palpable, and it sets her on a collision course with the priest who killed Pete. For Tiana, running away is no longer an option. She's exhausted, she's lost, and she's ready to face the man who took everything from her. Mommy Fawcett, whose role in Tiana's life has been that of a protector and guide, tries to offer a solution. She urges Tiana to stay hidden, to keep running, and to keep fighting for her own survival. But Tiana has reached her breaking point. She can no longer hide in the shadows. Her sense of justice, her need to face the man who tore her life apart, is too powerful to ignore. Tiana decides to stop running and confront the priest. It's a heartbreaking choice, knowing that this path could lead to her own destruction, but it's a path that feels inevitable. When Mommy discovers Pete's body, she is devastated. She realizes that Tiana's world has just crumbled completely, and she quickly uncovers the identity of Pete's killer, the priest. This moment of realization sets off a chain of events that will lead to a deadly confrontation. Mommy's attempt to protect Tiana, offering her a safe haven, shows the depth of her care for the young woman. But Tiana's resolve is unwavering. She is done hiding, done running. She is ready to make a stand, no matter the cost. What follows is a journey of intense emotion and a determination to confront her past, no matter the consequences. Tiana's decision to kill the priest is the culmination of everything she has endured. It's not just an act of vengeance, it's an act of reclaiming her agency. She is no longer a victim of circumstance. She is taking control of her fate, even if it means embracing violence and danger. Her grief, anger, and desire for justice all converge in this final act of defiance. As Tiana seeks out the priest, the tension is unbearable. We know that this confrontation could go one of two ways. Either Tiana will find the justice she so desperately seeks, or she will be crushed under the weight of her decision. The buildup is thrilling, as Tiana's desperation to end her torment is met with the cold reality of what it means to seek vengeance. The journey toward this moment of reckoning is fraught with danger, and every step she takes feels like a step closer to her own doom. Will Tiana be able to achieve the justice she craves, or will her quest for vengeance lead her down a darker, more tragic path? As episode 6 unfolds, viewers are left hanging on to every word and action, knowing that Tiana's fate is now in her own hands. Her determination and inner strength make her an unforgettable character in the 1923 universe, and her journey toward vengeance will leave audiences wondering, is there ever truly peace for someone who has lost everything? As the chaos unfolds around Spencer, Alexandra, and Tiana, the Duttons' long-simmering battle for power and survival reaches its breaking point in 1923, Season 2, Episode 6. With the shadow of Banner Creighton looming over Montana, Spencer's return becomes more than just a personal reunion. It marks the beginning of an epic showdown that will determine the fate of the Dutton family. Episode 6 doesn't just build up to this confrontation, it throws us into a world where nothing is certain and everyone is positioned for either a devastating fall or an unexpected triumph. The episode begins with Spencer arriving in Montana, his long journey finally coming to an end. But the reunion he hoped for will not be what he imagined. The Dutton family, battered by the trials they've endured, is about to face their greatest threat yet. And Spencer, though relieved to return, quickly realizes that the Montana he left behind is no longer a place of safety or peace. Instead, it's a volatile land caught in the crossfire of rival forces, all vying for control. What's most gripping about Spencer's return is not just the personal reunion with his family, but the larger political struggle that's unfolding. The Marshal of Montana has already warned Spencer that his arrival could spark a war. Spencer, however, is unfazed by the threats. He's ready to face the new reality of his home state, but the weight of this new conflict is impossible to ignore. The Duttons, once the untouchable landowners, are now forced to confront the ruthless forces that have amassed against them. The question now is, will Spencer's arrival be enough to turn the tide in their favor? As Spencer tries to navigate the dangers of Montana, the tension between the Duttons and their enemies, led by the ever-merciless Banner Creighton, becomes more palpable. Banner's preparations to fight Spencer show just how far he's willing to go to see the Duttons fall. His army is a force to be reckoned with, and the mounting fear among the Duttons is impossible to ignore. They've fought tooth and nail to hold on to their land and legacy, but now their very survival is in jeopardy. Will the Duttons be able to reclaim their power, or is this the moment when everything they've worked for slips through their fingers? At the same time, the narrative isn't just focused on the external threat. It's also about the internal fractures within the Dutton family. As Spencer returns, we see the emotional toll that their years of struggle have taken on them. There's a sense of weariness in the family, a feeling that the endless fighting has eroded their unity, but the family bond is still strong enough to withstand the forces trying to tear them apart. In this episode, the Duttons are forced to dig deep and decide whether they will fight together or risk losing everything in the face of Banner's overwhelming power. The stakes couldn't be higher. The war that's about to erupt is not just for control of Montana, it's for the soul of the Dutton family. Their land, their legacy, their very way of life is on the line, but the beauty of 1923 is that, even in the darkest of moments, there's always a glimmer of hope. Spencer's return may have been hard-fought, but it's not just his physical presence that gives the Duttons strength, it's his unyielding resolve to protect his family and to confront the monsters threatening their world. But as the episode progresses, the Duttons soon realize that this won't be a battle they can win with brute force alone. They will need to outsmart their enemies, make choices that will challenge everything they believe in, and prepare for a war that could tear apart the very fabric of their family. In the final moments of Episode 6, the stage is set for a devastating conflict, one that will force the Duttons to confront their past, their future, and the sacrifices they're willing to make to survive. As the episode draws to a close, the audience is left with one burning question. Can the Duttons truly survive this battle? Will Spencer's return be the spark that ignites a war they can win, or is it the beginning of the end for their reign over Montana? The tension is so thick, it's palpable, and Episode 6 sets the stage for a showdown that promises to leave audiences on the edge of their seats, eagerly awaiting the next twist in the saga. The return of Spencer Dutton to Montana is supposed to be a moment of relief. After enduring countless trials and hardships, Spencer, the family's stalwart protector, finally steps foot on the land he once called home. Yet, as the dust settles around him, it quickly becomes clear that this isn't the peaceful return he had envisioned. The Montana Spencer knew has evolved into a battleground where the stakes have risen to unprecedented levels. It's no longer just about survival, it's about domination, and in Episode 6, we see just how dangerous the fight for control has become. From the moment Spencer arrives, the tension is palpable. The Dutton family, worn thin by their ongoing struggles, is caught in a web of violence, political machinations, and power plays. But the central issue is clear. Montana is under siege, not just by external forces like Banner Creighton, but also by the undercurrent of internal struggles within the Dutton family itself. Spencer's return might have been celebrated in theory, but it opens a floodgate of complications and threats that threaten to undo everything they've fought for. As Spencer assesses the situation, he begins to realize that the Montana he left behind isn't just in danger. It's already lost in many ways. Banner Creighton, the ruthless landowner with his own ambitions, has positioned himself as the primary antagonist, orchestrating a campaign to wrest control of the state from the Duttons. But what makes Banner so dangerous isn't just his ambition, it's his willingness to sacrifice everything, including human lives, to achieve his goals. Spencer's return is the catalyst Banner has been waiting for to spark a war, and it's a battle Spencer never expected to face so soon after his long and arduous journey. The episode expertly shifts between moments of personal introspection and mounting external threats. Spencer, who once had such a strong connection to Montana, now stands on the precipice of an uncertain future. The land that once symbolized opportunity and legacy is now a powder keg, with forces beyond the Duttons' control threatening to ignite it. Spencer's journey home has brought him face to face with a new reality, one where family ties, loyalty, and survival will be tested in ways that few could have predicted. As Spencer learns more about the situation, it becomes clear that the Duttons' power is slipping away. Their once stronghold on the state is now fractured, and their enemies, led by Banner, have made it clear that they're ready for war. Spencer, who has always been a man of action, realizes that his arrival doesn't bring the resolution he hoped for. It's the beginning of a much larger battle. The stakes are no longer just about maintaining the Dutton family's legacy. They're about ensuring that they don't lose everything in the process.